For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Hear from your government officials,
independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today is Monday, the 18th day of September 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, again, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious. Whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, please ensure you observe the rules of the road. Remember, our future, our young ones are on our roads. They're heading to school. They're either walking, riding a bike, or in a vehicle with a parent or a guardian, or on a bus. Please, please, please be extremely cautious, as well as patient on our roads. Be patient on our roads as well. Don't get frustrated when you have to sit behind a bus because they're either letting off students or taking students on board as well. Just don't get frustrated. Be patient. And not only will you save their lives, but your life may also be saved in the process if you observe the rules of the road. So we hope and we trust that you will follow our instructions. The other morning I spoke about Spot Straight, also known as Tom Jackson Lane, and a few days later, what did we have? Crash on Spot Straight. Fortunately, or it didn't appear as if anyone was seriously injured, but that should not be any reason why you should not be ensuring that you, as well as other road users, remain safe on our roads as well. Those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts proudly brought to you by Pizza Boat, who are now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. We urge you to hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Why should you hop on board? Because Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. And how do they do that? First of all, they offer you the option of picking up your pizza or having it delivered. And you can do that simply by calling 949-0000, or you can order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands, we want to wish you a speedy recovery. We want to give a special shout out to a former colleague here at Radio Cayman, Miss Charlene Parrott, who is recovering beautifully, and looking forward to seeing you soon, or hearing from you soon as well. But Miss Charlene, spoke to her yesterday, and I was telling her who would be on the show this morning, that the Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Juliana O'Connor Connolly, as well as Minister Dwayne Seymour, would be on the show after the 8 o'clock news. And she said, how in the world I'm going to be able to listen to you? She said, I better start arranging that, from now as well. So, of course, where she is, we're not sure whether or not, she has the facility there to listen. But the reports that we're getting is that she will be home in a few days as well. So we want to give a special shout out to Miss Charlene Parrott as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. And to remind you that For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman. It is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. Your host is, my name is Orrett Connor. I welcome you to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, we have our phone lines open when they're functioning, and they usually are functioning, but that lightning strike the other day did a whole lot to disrupt things right here on Radio Cayman, but we're getting it all sorted out. So if our toll-free number is working, please call us on that number. That's provided courtesy of Flo. That number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. So let's look at the birthday shout outs that we have, and we have some from last week as well. So Miss Liliane Ebanks celebrated her third birthday on Friday the 15th of September, and Mr. Garnell Ebanks celebrated his birthday on the 17th of September. Then we see Miss Lucille Seymour. Miss Lucille celebrated her birthday on Saturday, and here's what she wrote and shared with us on her WhatsApp group. Saturday was my birthday. Look who's 79 today. When you are younger, you are so excited about birthdays. That is because you want to be older. As you get older, they are so important, not as so important as you want to see many more. So they're so important because you want to see many more. She goes on to say, thank you, God, for my 79th birthday. I am happy to be alive and feeling wonderful. Thank you, fans, for keeping me alive, for it is my socialization with you that propels me to take better care of myself, and also for your positivity about your children, community, and Cayman. Let me take you down the road over the 78th year and some face of Lucille. I love you all, Miss Lucille. And I think she shared photographs, on that as well. So just wanted to share that with you about Miss Lucille. We have lots of birthday shout outs, today as well. So we have, okay, got to find what you sent me now, Miss Gay Jackson celebrating a birthday today as well. Yep, I have. I'm going to find all of them, Miss Susan. So tomorrow we have Buck Grizel celebrating his birthday. Carla Borden celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And Natalia McLaughlin celebrating a birthday tomorrow as well. And then we have Miss Jewel has shared with us that she's her birthday is tomorrow as well, so we have to give her a big shout out because she's always given everybody a big shout out on their birthday as well. So big shout out, birthday shout out to Miss Jewel when tomorrow arrives, and she will be celebrating her birthday. Also, Mr. Alvin McLaughlin will be celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Annie Tomlinson, she's celebrating her birthday. She's the bus driver. Mr. Ed Gibson celebrating his birthday tomorrow. Carla McIver celebrating a birthday tomorrow. And then she identifies a special birthday to none other than Miss Georgette Ebanks as well. And then, of course, with some connections here on Radio Cayman as well, Mr. Jeffrey Watson celebrating his birthday. Is that today or tomorrow? Today, Mr. Jeffrey Watson celebrating his birthday today. And special birthday greetings coming from your sister, none other than the beautiful radio voice of Radio Cayman, Miss Susan Watson. I think I've received another one as well. Yep. And those birthday greetings are coming from your brother as well as Miss Susan Watson. Brothers, got that. Okay. Then this person has said, could you please send birthday greetings to my son, Lauren Williams, wishing him all the best and wishing that he will live to see many, many more. Greetings coming from Tony and Keisha. So birthday greetings going out to Mr. Lauren Williams coming from Tony and Keisha. Okay, yes. Happy birthday, we said to Miss Gay Jackson, as well. I think so, yes, but we'll confirm. We'll confirm that. Something that Miss Susan and I are talking about. And then we have sent a birthday shout out to my son Emmanuel, who turns a big 8 today. And these birthday greetings coming from Mom, Rosita, sisters Ashanti, and Riani, and the rest of the family. And Mr. Emmanuel, your family is proud to wish you a happy birthday and wish that you live to see many, many more as well. I want to make sure that I don't miss any of these. This one says, okay, Lauren Williams. Yeah, I did that. I did Lauren Williams already, I believe. Yeah. And this one says, sending birthday greetings to my Aunt Elsa May and Gay on their birthday. And Miss Susan and I were speaking off air that they're twins. So that is confirmed. So happy birthday greetings going out to Aunt Elsie May and Gay on their birthday. Of course, the writer didn't identify themselves. But if you want to say who it's coming from, just let me know, and we will include that in the message as well. Folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we return, if we have no calls and no more birthday greetings, we can discuss this day in history, the 18th of September, some of the things that occurred on the 18th of September. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Mary Genevieve Bawden, 1914 to 1992.
Ms. Genevieve was a dedicated Sunday school teacher and Cub Scout captain. She was active in the Christian Endeavor Society of the Presbyterian Church. When she passed her first examination in Jamaica, she began teaching under the guidance of Mr. T.F. Hill. She left the government school system for a time and ran a private school in her home from 1930 to 1944. She received higher education in Jamaica and in New Zealand, Barbados, and Wales. Ms. Genevieve served as head teacher in the government schools in West Bay, Northside, and Savannah, and also taught in Cayman Brac and Georgetown. When she retired, she was executive officer in the Department of Education.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
All aboard the Pizza Boat! Cayman's newest pizzeria. Birthday parties, office luncheons, summer camps, game night. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat. And Cayman twist to pizza. Bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
Upgrade your connection with Digicel's all-new postpaid plans. Experience the freedom of endless local calls, more any-use data to browse, entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, and endless social data for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's not all. Stay connected when you travel with roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean, and make calls while abroad with more international minutes than ever before. Stay connected on the fastest, most reliable network. Make the switch today. Digicel, better connected.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio yet, but after the 8 o'clock news, we will have in the studio with us Minister of Education and Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, the Honourable Juliana O'Connor Connolly. Also accompanying her will be Minister Dwayne Seymour as well. So looking back at birthdays, and again to remind you that the birthday shout-outs are brought to you by Pizza Boat. They're now open on Queens Court on West Bay Road. We encourage you to hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Why? Because Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. You can have your pizza delivered or you can pick it up. You simply call 949-0000 or you can order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. So on Saturday, in addition to Miss Lucille celebrating her birthday, we see that Miss Laura McLaughlin celebrated her birthday. Mr. Percival Warm celebrated his birthday. Mr. Keith Rivers celebrated his birthday on Saturday, and my son Kareem Connor celebrated his birthday on Saturday as well. So let's look at this day in history, 18th of September, and see some of the notable things that occurred. So we have famous and then notorious Lance Armstrong, who was born on the 18th of September, 1971. If you're into cycling, you know what happened there. James Gandolfini. I watch some TV, but don't watch a whole lot of it when it comes to shows and stuff. But he was born on the 18th of September, 1961, American actor. Mr. Ben Carson, born in 1951. He's an American neurosurgeon and politician. Don't hear much about him these days. We heard very little about him during his time as a member of Trump's cabinet as well. Of course, Trump overshadowed everyone in his cabinet. Greta Garbo, she was born in the 18th of September, 1905. Then other events that took place on this date in 2020, on the 18th of September 2020, American lawyer and, of course, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG. She was the second woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court, and she died at age 87 in September of 2000. What else do we have that we can share with you for this date? We had in 1970, American rock guitarist and singer Jimi Hendrix died in in London, yes, of an overdose of barbiturates. What else do we have here? A Japanese astronomer. Okay, yeah, this one is significant because, of course, the United Nations General Assembly opens this week as well. And on the 18th of September, 1961, the then UN Secretary Dag Hammarskjöld died in a plane crash that generated much speculation. And then, of course, in a 2017, a 2017 investigation found that, and I quote, it appears plausible that an external attack on Orrett may have been the cause of the crash that caused the death of Dag Hammarskjöld. What else do we have here? If you're into hockey, September the 18th, 1933, renowned ice hockey coach Scotty Bowman, who won a record 9 Stanley Cups as a lead coach in the National Hockey League. He was born then. What else do we have? Booker T. Yeah, this one is important. On the 18th of September, 1895, Booker T. Washington declared the Atlanta Compromise, which was a classic statement on race relations in a speech at the Atlanta, Georgia Exposition. That's important as well. And okay, we're going to stop there because I want to share this one with you as well. And on social media, chat groups and everything, there's one event that took place last week that has made and continues to make many Caymanians feel extremely proud and happy. And that is the acquisition by A.L. Thompson's of the Cox Lumber operations here in the Cayman Islands. And I'll just very quickly share with you the release that says A.L. Thompson Building Supplies Limited today announced the acquisition or the purchase of Cox Lumber Limited, bringing the two family-run companies and their values of excellence, integrity, and customer satisfaction to even more customers while maintaining 100% Caymanian ownership of the business. And we need to see more and more of that as well. What we also need to see in the Cayman Islands is, and of course, if this was in the United States, either one of those companies probably by now would have gone what you call going public. They would have offered public shares in the company, which would make the current owners extremely, extremely, extremely rich. And they would have a public offering shares to the public. We need to see more of that in the Cayman Islands, where the public is offered to participate financially in a particular company. And if you want a perfect example of that, the Cayman Islands Cooperative Civil Service Cooperative Credit Union, shareholders, they own it. They get the dividends when dividends are distributed. They are able to participate in the success of the company as well. But we say kudos to A.L. Thompson, and we urge you to continue to support them. They didn't pay for this commercial, but this is something that makes us as Caymanians proud. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned. For the record, with Deputy Premier Juliana O'Connor Connolly and Minister Dwayne Seymour will be in the studio after our 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 8 o'clock. You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Honey, look what I found.
What did you get?
Foster's Finds.
Foster's found what?
No, Foster's Finds. Wild brine kimchi, plant-based deli sauces, ancient nutrition collagen protein, and look, they gave me a free reusable bag just for buying Good Pop ice cream.
I hadn't heard of these products before.
That's because Foster's Camana Bay gets a bunch of new specialty items each month for Foster's Finds.
These look amazing, but you do know that's not a shoulder bag, right?
I like the way it brings out my eyes.
Foster's, better selection because we care.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Kersley Fuller. After 2 teens are arrested for jumping a fellow student at John Gray High School last week, the Department of Education Services has released an update for the public. More from CIGTV's Simon Boxall.
Mark Ray, Director of Education Services, addresses concerns in the community regarding recent incidents at the John Gray High School. He highlights his participation in a staff briefing with other education officials in support of the staff and mentions resources such as the Employee Assistance Program and the school's action plan.
During the briefing, we reminded the staff of the resources available to them, including the Employee Assistance Program support, and we listened as the principal outlined the school's action plan.
The DES Director also notes upcoming messaging involving students to help create a safer, more supportive school community.
In other news,
the best time to invest in the Caribbean is now.
Attendees at Friday's USA Caribbean Investment Forum in New York heard from Minister for Tourism and Chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan. While there, he told potential investors he and his regional counterparts want to encourage investors to incorporate local culture, architecture, and traditions in their projects by supporting local artisans, businesses, and cultural events, and enhancing the authenticity of a guest's experience.
As Caribbean leaders, while we welcome foreign direct investments, we remain committed to ensuring that the investments in our tourism industries benefit the local population and creates a positive social impact.
He wrapped up by telling delegates that while regional leaders welcome and encourage investment, it must be predicated on the understanding that investing in tourism and hotel development within the Caribbean is not, quote, just a business decision, but a transformative opportunity to change lives. And join the Cayman Islands Astronomical Society for an evening of stargazing tonight.
We will have wonderful views of the thin crescent moon and a shot at spotting the newly discovered comet Nishimura, low in the western sky just after sunset. Saturn with its magnificent rings will also be amazing to see.
President of the Astronomical Society, Tyne Miller, tells Radio Cayman all are welcome to tonight's free event. It starts at 6:30 p.m. at the grassy area near the playground on Public Beach. Make sure to head to the Facebook page for the club for the latest information. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Kersley Fuller.
BBC News. 5 American prisoners who were detained for several years in Iran have arrived at Tehran airport and are about to fly home via Doha. 5 Iranians held in U.S. jails will also be freed in a controversial deal mediated by Qatar. Iran says $6 billion in oil revenue has now been transferred to accounts in Doha, one of the conditions for the swap. Ukraine's new defence minister has sacked 6 of his deputies, saying a reboot of the system was needed. It's 2 weeks since President Zelensky replaced the previous defence chief, following widespread allegations of corruption within his department. UN human rights experts say war crimes against humanity are still being committed in different parts of Ethiopia despite a peace deal. It was signed 10 months ago by government and regional forces from Tigray. China has accused Germany's foreign minister of political provocation for referring to President Xi Jinping as a dictator. Annalena Baerbock made the comments last week in Washington. An elite women's tennis tournament is being held in China for the first time since a boycott over concerns about the well-being of the Chinese player Peng Shuai. The Women's Tennis Association suspended events in China after Ms. Peng said she'd been forced into a sexual relationship with a senior Chinese politician. The U.S. military has appealed to the public for help to find an advanced fighter jet that went missing over South Carolina on Sunday. The pilot ejected from the F-35 and parachuted to safety after what was described as a mishap. Britain's competition regulator has set out ideas for the safe development and use of artificial intelligence. It warns of the risk to consumers of false or misleading information and AI-enabled fraud.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Each one of us is different, and so are our health needs. Health City's executive health checks are packaged for you as an individual, including optional add-ons tailored to your health journey. We have a variety of health checks to suit your age, gender, lifestyle, and family medical history. Visit healthcity.ky to find the health check package that suits you best and book your Health City health check today. At Health City, we know healthy looks different on everyone.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you want to go scuba diving on your vacation, don't bedazzle your wetsuit. And you think you look great, but what you don't realize is that you look like a shiny, scaly fish. And it won't take long for a shark to notice you. Next thing you know, you're busting out every karate move you got. But if you're smart, you'll have CG medical insurance and get airlifted out to the closest hospital.
Get coverage for emergency evacuations. CG Britk. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 85 degrees. Relative humidity is 79%. The barometric pressure, 29.91 inches and rising. The winds are variable at 1 knot. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicate light winds and smooth seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next few days, supporting localized showers. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area, moving south-southwest. The National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Hurricane Nigel. This system poses no threat to the Cayman Islands. For more information, you can always visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers. Temperatures will be in the low 90s with a heat index of 107 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to northeast at 5 knots or less, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. The forecast for tonight is calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures falling to the low 80s tonight. Winds will be northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be smooth to slight with wave heights of less than 2 feet for tonight as well. High tide will be this morning at 11:15, low tide this afternoon at 4:53, and a high tide again tonight at 10:31. The sun will set this evening at 6:23 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:14. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Thursday morning.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. There's no great success without commitment.
As motivational speaker Tony Robbins said, individuals who succeed have a belief in the power of commitment. If there's a single belief that seems almost inseparable from success, it's that there's no great success without commitment. If you look at successful people in any field, you'll find they're not necessarily the best and the brightest, the fastest and the strongest. You'll find they're the ones with the most commitment.
Change your thinking, change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. Coming from the east and Crew Road, traffic is steady. Heading east and Crew Road, moderate flow of traffic. Coming off of Bobby Thompson, really steady traffic, as well as on Huldah Avenue. To the east on Shamrock Road, and just as you approach the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic is stop and go, so slight delays expected. Coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way, traffic is steady. As we look to the Esley Tibbetts Highway, traffic is steady, coming off of there as well, and heading towards the Industrial Park area, steady but flowing traffic. And traffic is moving on moderately in both directions on North Sound Way and North Sound Road. Coming from the West Bay four-way stop, traffic is flowing pretty good. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And Owen Roberts Drive, light to moderate traffic flow. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic flowing at a good pace. And that's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the all-new Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have our very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Slight changes in plans. Minister Dwayne Seymour is on his way in. Unfortunately, the Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Ms. Julie, is still over in the BRAC, and we're looking for another day to accommodate her, because by the time she reaches Grand Cayman, the show would have been over. But we're expecting Minister Seymour. He's on his way in as well. So just wanted to share that with you. Meanwhile, we still have, just to let you know, the phone lines are open. Our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. The WhatsApp number, 925-3261. But just send WhatsApp messages to that number. Not sure if the phone component of it is working at this stage. So we see Miss Olga, also known as Miss Toy, or some call her Nanny. She's the mother of Miss Karen Ryan. She celebrated her birthday yesterday on the 17th of September, and Miss Karen shares that she had a most wonderful and amazing day, and was full in the moment. She shares that so thankful and grateful for another year around the sun. Thanks be to God. Thankful for wonderful, loving friends, family, and caregivers. We love her to the moon and back, to infinity and beyond. And that's coming from Karen and Daniela as well. And Miss Toy, she was 96 years of age yesterday, the 17th of September. So here at Radio Cayman, we all want to wish Miss Toy a belated happy 96th birthday as well. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, good morning, Mr. O.C. Good morning, Cayman.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. It's such a beautiful day here in the islands, you know. Yeah. Just following up on the question I had inquired about, you know that I'm pretty passionate about our environment and our national tree, and I still hadn't had any kind of correspondence with anyone that wants to divulge any information to me on what happened to all of those silver thatch bombs that was in the Hero Square. Like I said, that was a big source of material for us, cultural artisans to get our supplies from. It was probably over, well over 300 silver thatch palms at the right height for harvesting their tops, because we didn't have to reach up too high. We didn't have to bend down too low. They were perfect. We could have another 10 years of top harvesting from right there in Hero Square. And nobody knows or wants to tell us who and what happened to those silver thatch bombs. And then right after that, they had this tree planting initiative. I thought for the Jubilee, I thought that those silver thatch palms would have been a real appropriate one to revive at that point. And, at that size, they could have been placed all over without encroaching on any kind of buildings or anything. They're not really a dangerous tree in our hurricane season. There's minimum maintenance of them, and they also provide good source of food for our native bird, the parrot. So I'm just trying to find out a little bit more about where those silver thatch palms went to.
Well, and when were they removed from there? Any idea in terms of time frame?
When they started to revitalize the Hero Square, they put in some foreign bricks and pretty rocks.
This is recently.
Recently, in the revitalization of Georgetown.
Okay, so the person I believe that you should try to get in contact with is a gentleman by the name of Lumsden. He is the coordinator, the manager for that project.
Okay, great.
So he's the person, Mr. Colin Lumsden. He's the person that you should contact on that. And if you have actually been out to the site, if they're still working there, I'm sure that some of the workers, whether or not they're working for a contractor or working directly with the government, should be able to tell you something as well.
Yeah, most of the people finished once Mr. Horatio put up those balls. Most of the landscaping was done already.
Okay.
So there's nobody out there really. And I can understand, not that it was just something that wasn't really thought out, because where the thatch trees were, they were sort of encroaching on the theme of putting up more there's little statues for heroes and stuff, and it did make it more visible, or heroes. I can understand that part, and but I'm just curious as to where the trees went to, because that is our national tree, and if we can just dig them up and toss them aside and fill up the dump with them, we need to rethink our tourism product or culture and everything, if that's the route that our government are hiring people to do.
I would, and I have no proof of this, but I would say that you would expect the Botanic Park to be involved, to have been involved in that process, in terms of the removal. So, if someone is listening and and if they are aware of precisely what occurred, it would be interesting to hear about that as well. Yeah.
Yes, because like I said, the tree planting initiative about our Jubilee came right up after that, and they were looking for people to plant trees. Mm-hmm. And if they had those things still in survival mode, or that would have been a great thing to do, hopefully it'll come up and those things are still available to be planted in our community, maybe start our national thatch walk, which we need a cultural center to keep our culture alive. Mm-hmm. We need to focus on about maybe a 5-acre plot of land that can plant thousands of silver thatch palms and have an environment where the tourists can come there and see what it took to lay thatch rope, or how the whole process went. We need that if we're going to do anything about our culture. I'm calling you out on that, Mr. Bush. Bernie, my friend, do something. We West Bears need a civic center too. Yes, so we can associate with each other and thing. That's ridiculous that we don't have a civic center in West Bay. East End got 2. And we got twice as many people.
More than twice.
More than twice.
Yes.
We need a civic center.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, Mr. O.C.
Okay, thank you.
For just listening to me so I can, just vent sometimes, because, that helps.
Thank you very much. And you're more than welcome. Feel free to call in at any point in time if you have any questions, if you have any comments. Of course, we like to make it short and sweet as possible, But yes, there are, he has asked some relevant or appropriate questions in relation to those silver flats. And again, those who are involved, those who are responsible, you would have thought that if they wanted to be proactive about it, they would have said exactly, what transpired, what happened to those as well. And that's the one way to ensure that you don't have any questions being asked in that regard. If you provide the answer before the questions start to come. Okay, Ms. Susan, we're going to take a commercial break early, because when we return, I want to talk about this report on residence and belongership in the British Virgin Islands. And one of the things that they spoke about in that report was the population growth and the growth and the impact of the population in the BVI as well. Very, very, very important, because while we here in the Cayman Islands continue to talk about the call for increasing our population to 100,000, and we continue to criticize that suggestion, it seems as if we may be slowly but steadily creeping to that figure in the Cayman Islands. So let's take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue, so please stay tuned.
Ready for more fun, more data, and endless connections? Digicel's all-new postpaid plans got you covered. Get more entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Endless social data for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. And more international minutes than ever before. Stay connected on the fastest, most reliable network in Cayman. Make the switch today. Digicel. Better connected.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my healthcare instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. I remind you, the phone lines are open. Toll-free number when it's working. Provided courtesy of Flow, 1-800-534-8255. Other numbers, 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp number, just send WhatsApp messages, 925-3261. So, BVI said when it comes to population growth and its impact, they pointed out that from 2005 to 2015, that's 10 within a 10-year span, the BVI national population grew at an average annual rate of 1.8%, while the expatriate population increased at a much higher average rate of 3.8%. It's basically more than double. This and they point out that this indicates that the expatriate population is growing more than 2 times faster compared to the growth of the BVI nationals. Such a trend can have implications for various aspects of the society and economy. It must impact cultural dynamics. Tell us about it. It strains social integration efforts, as well as create challenges in resource allocation and infrastructure development. Tell us all about that, because we have seen it here in the Cayman Islands as well, where our expatriate population growing much faster than the national population. We have seen it impact our cultural dynamics. We have seen the strain on social integration efforts. We have seen challenges being created as far as resource allocation is concerned, and not to mention infrastructure development, mainly housing, and the escalating cost of housing in the Cayman Islands due to the demands being placed by our expatriate community as a result of our work permits. Their report goes on to talk about the fact the significant presence of foreign individuals who have migrated to the territory to meet the labor demands for various industries is reflected in the overall composition of the BVI population. In 2015, the BVI population consisted of 36% nationals and 64% expatriates. And in the report, it goes on to say that the above information highlights the need for further investigation and a comprehensive understanding of the dynamics surrounding long-term foreign workers, their eventual status in the British Virgin Islands, and their potential eligibility for belongership. And it goes on to say that such insights are key for accurately assessing the future impact on belongership applications and formulating effective policies that consider both the needs of the foreign labor force and the interests of the BVI community. Then they go on to talk about the laws in the British Virgin Islands relating to residency and belongership. And it says in the Virgin Islands, belongership is determined by the Virgin Islands Constitution Order 2007, Section 2, Subsection 2 of Part 4 of the Immigration and Passport Act. Section 16 and 19 governs the grant of residency and belongership status, and Part 3, Sections 11 to 15 governs the function of the Department and Board of Immigration. So again, and we've spoken about this before, the fact that belongership is determined in the British Virgin Islands by their constitution, as opposed to the Cayman Islands, where belongership or Caymanian status and the definition of Caymanian in our constitution, we have said it is what it says in our Immigration Act. So we pass the buck to the Immigration Act, and there are reasons, for that. Not to trying to justify it in any way, but we have made things so complicated in the Cayman Islands when it comes to those issues. One of the things that Then this may be of interest to you, and it speaks to the process governing residency and belongership. So here's what obtains in the British Virgin Islands. It says that the processing of residence and belonger status is handled by the Department of Immigration. In the case of belonger status, the department only processes applications for belongership by tenure and marriage. The process of an application is clearly outlined in document guidelines in a particular document. It says the applicant leaves an application form at the department's office. The secretary to the board, an immigration officer, checks it for qualification. Applicants with less than 20 years residence are deemed unqualified. So right there and then, you have to be living in the BVI at least 20 years for you to qualify to, apply for residency. And acknowledges it, opens a file, places the application, if qualified, on a list that goes to the board. Before consideration by the full board, a panel of assigned members review the application, interview the applicant, and requires him or her to complete a culture test. Does that one sound familiar? People kicking against that here in the Cayman Islands, even challenges in court challenges. Finally, the board meeting considers the application and applies a point scale to the application for a score. The system gives or deducts points for employment status, financial standing, contributions to the community, culture, and general knowledge of the territory, and other considerations. The board then either defers the application to request more information or recommends either approval or denial. In the latter case, the minutes may indicate a reason. That's interesting. Our law says you must give a reason when you refuse. The application then goes with others to the Premier's office, where it is put to Cabinet, generally within a month of receipt, and a decision rendered. That is conveyed to the Chief Immigration Officer, who then informs the successful applicants, collects the fees, and prepares the certificates and identification cards to await a presentation ceremony. He also writes to inform the unsuccessful applicants of this approval. And it goes on to say that the process outlined above is one that evolved over a period as members of the various boards sought to institute measures to provide more definition of the process, to increase transparency, objectivity, and fairness. They go on to say that there are no administrative guidelines stipulating the amount of time the public can expect an application to be processed. There is also no policy of communicating at intervals with the applicants, but deficiencies in the process affect both residency and belongership application. Of course, this process, the Commission of Inquiry in the British Virgin Islands asks for the whole process to be reviewed, as a result, of some of these apparent deficiencies in the processing of applications. We're going to take a short commercial break. We are happy to have Minister Seymour in the studio with us. We're going to take this commercial break. I will introduce him and we will get right into the discussion. So folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. As I told you earlier, the Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Honourable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, still in the BRAC, unable to be here, but we're making arrangements to have her on the show, hopefully one day during this week as well. But in the studio with us, I'm happy to welcome none other than Minister John Seymour, who has constitutional responsibility for border control and labor. Minister Seymour, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning to you. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Good morning to the people of the Cayman Islands and especially Town East.
Okay. And we know that tomorrow Parliament will be meeting, and that is expected to be a pretty short session, maybe a few days, a few bills, and then we have some of the parliamentary questions. As a matter of fact, one of our parliamentarians on his WhatsApp group shared with the group, and I want to find this. Some of the motions that were being brought forward, and I'll share this with you and have you comment on it. He points out and says, hope that the message finds everyone fine. He says, as some of you may be aware, first meeting of the 2023-24 parliamentary session starts tomorrow, Tuesday, the 19th of September at 10 a.m. The agenda will consist of 14 parliamentary questions, 9 private members' motions, 14 government bills. And as far as parliamentary questions are concerned, it says, as some of you may recall, on the 9th of June, Parliament unanimously agreed to make changes to the National Pensions Act that will allow for pension funds to help pay off or pay down on a mortgage, as well as increase the amount that can be used for a deposit in purchasing a home. 3 weeks later, on the 30th of June, I sent a 5-page letter to both Premier Panton and Minister Seymour, copied to all members of Parliament, reiterating the urgency of the situation for thousands of families and asking for an update. Honourable McKeever Bush also supported my calls for an update. I received no response from either Premier Panton or Minister Seymour, but I understand from my sources that both Ministers Kenneth Bryan and J.E. Banks have been pushing for action by the government. With the above in mind, I have filed 2 parliamentary questions to both Minister Seymour and the Attorney General asking for an update. Recognizing that cost of living continues to be an issue for thousands of families, I have also filed another parliamentary question asking for an implementation update on when the 13% increase for public servants will begin. And then it goes on to that. So on the pensions issue, any comments on that, Mr. Seymour?
In short, I want to say these things take time. Obviously, I think the person you're talking about is the former member, the former minister of Border Control and Labor. If they say they filed it, it was him who filed it. I've only been in the post now about 4 months or 4 or 5 months, and trying to do my best to get things done. He was in the post 2 years, and obviously what I want to say about that is that I worked very hard to get it. It's actually gone through caucus and cabinet now, and worked very hard to get it to that place. I know persons are in high anticipation for this, and I asked for it for a waiver on the amount of time it took to submit this to Parliament for it to be brought at this session. I'm not sure if that I was off island. I just got back on Friday night.
Right.
I'm not quite sure if that waiver was given for us to be able to bring that forward in Parliament. If not, it's been sent on, and whenever the next session is in Parliament, if it's not this one, then we'll be seeing that brought forward.
And that would be the budget upcoming budget session.
It could be before that. They could have an October session also. So hopefully it doesn't have to wait all the way until November with the next session. That's a big session and very confusing one, and I would hate for that to lose its muster in all of the budget debates and everything else. Hopefully we can get it going before that.
So it's no lack of support on your part why it hasn't been put in place yet?
No lack of support on my part. In fact, if history is kind to me, you will note that I was one of the movers of the motion some 12 or 13 years ago for persons to be able to use from their pension. It was me and then MLA at the time, Ilya Solomon, that brought that forward. So obviously I have to also state we can't make moves like this unless we are cognizant of the effects in the future. And obviously what's happening in this country now is not really thinking about tomorrow. People need to live today, the cost of living and everything else. So it is a drastic move. It's a sensitive one. Some people are inclined for you to use your pension in advance. Some persons say, look, you need that for your retirement. We know what we know now, and we are in the situation that we're in. And I keep reminding people that 2 years of COVID is no joke, and it really hurt the economy. Our people are in a time that they have never seen before, and I think we keep forgetting that. And yes, we need to use our pensions now, and that's one of the ways that that persons think they can help them at this time, at this juncture. So then, as a government, we need to plan. We need to set up some kind of other fund for retirement in the Cayman Islands, because obviously there's going to be problems in the future in terms of having enough pension for persons to be able to survive, and I think we're living until 80 or 90 years old now, and it probably won't be enough. So we need to put other plans in place.
Yeah, and we've seen globally that and when you listen to pension experts, there is that realization, like you've said, that just the pension alone, with the cost of living and everything else, will not be sufficient to carry you through your retirement. You have to have something else, either investments or you have to have savings to supplement that pension as well. That is a reality.
That is a reality, and I just want to say, though, with the cost of living, the way it's going, the banking fees, the mortgage increasing almost every 3 months, if a person owes, just say, $35,000 and is able to pay that off and doesn't have the burden of paying that mortgage anymore, that really releases a person. So that kind of person, this can really, really help, So it won't be all lost, because then those persons, then if they're paying $4,000 a month, now they can actually save that, and that'll also go towards their retirement.
Any pushback from the pension funds and the administrators in relation to what government has been asked to do and what government appears to be going to do?
I've heard that they have serious concerns about the funds, and I haven't had a personal conversation with them. I know that they've been trying to meet with the ministry. Because of our budget discussions, we hadn't been able to meet with them. But I can only imagine that there's serious concerns there. But what really behooves me is that when a person retires, no matter how much they put in their plan, for most people, they'll still only be able to get $1,000 a month. That is not enough to sustain a person who's used to living a different quality of life. And I must remind you that even politicians, for the standard of living that most think that they do, and for the amount of money that people think that we make, will still also be getting $1,000 a month, which is, it's not enough, So we need to find another way But
you do have the you mentioned politicians, and there's a distinction between politicians and members of parliament, because you do have the parliamentary pension fund as well.
Same thing.
Yeah,
1,000. Yeah, and it's very scary for persons who come out here like myself, who we sacrifice our life to serve country, and when we're out of office, no one wants to hire us, so that is very concerning, and we must look into it. We need to protect all citizens. I think we're dumbing down politics, as I call it, and we need to be more respectful towards politicians, and not every politician is corrupt, as some would say. And I think what we're doing is we're talking about, we need new blood, we need new people in this politics. Those old ones did this and that, and then we're setting a bad example for those persons who are supposed to come along and take over, because they're saying, and I know that a couple of them are left when they found out that their pension would only be $1,000 a month. So that's that is very concerning. And definitely a person who is a lawyer or a doctor or whoever else leave their profession to come into politics, to be ridiculed and railroaded and all kinds of stuff, and to retire with $1,000 a month while you're leaving your career.
Unless you have a nest egg already set up, then
well, that's it. Even the nest egg is going to go away.
Okay. Now, Minister Seymour, you have, two areas of responsibility that are extremely pressing for the Cayman Islands: border control and labor. And, within border control itself, the our Immigration Act, falls, within that. We know that there have been some reviews that have been commissioned in relation to residency and Caymanian status. We know that there are concerns, in relation to labor. I shared earlier while you were sitting there some of the issues that some of our other overseas territories are facing. Fortunately for us, we have a demand for labor, an excessive demand for labor, whereas there are some jurisdictions where that was the case, and then their policies, when they changed their policies, then they ended up losing some of the economic activity. We're now seeing it start to increase again, for instance, Bermuda, but obviously the BVI and others, Turks and Caicos, they are experiencing that increase in the labor supply. And so when we return, we want to talk a little bit about that. And then, of course, we'll talk about the elephant in the room as well, and that is the cohesion of the PAC government. Some people are questioning the billboard, the famous billboard that is up and saying, we immigration reform now, and as if that is not likely to happen. I guess, Ms. Susan, you're not ready for headline news yet, are you? We have about 2 minutes before we go to that, so I can give you, an opportunity to sort of touch on it before we go to our headline news.
Well, you mentioned a couple things. Obviously for any country, it's to grow or to slow. And obviously, so most people say, don't stop progress. Otherwise it'll be a long time before it comes back to you. I keep saying this all the time, OC, and whatever we do, however we grow, it needs to work for Caymanians. If it's not working for Caymanians, then we need to pause it, or slow it down. Obviously, some of the papers that we're working on in the ministry will definitely make a difference, especially when it comes to permanent residence and status and so forth. It's too easy to get status once you're married, and 3 years is not long enough. That definitely has to change. So you can know as Minister of Labor and Border Control, definitely it's my determination to make a difference with that, and there's many other areas that there's low-hanging fruits that we can do to ensure that we, some people don't like to use the word protect, but I don't mind using it. I'm not ashamed in using the word protect Caymanians. Who else is going to protect them if we don't,
Yep.
But obviously, immigration is always a big thing on it's always a big chatter. And I always say though that no one comes to Cayman unless a Caymanian has requested a work permit. So we have this taste for work permits. Everybody needs one, and after that, nobody else should get one.
Yeah. Only me.
Only me.
Yes.
And I do agree. I mean, we talk about growth in the country, and I heard you talk earlier about the 100,000 and so forth. We're not ready for 100,000 people. We're not ready for it. The structure is not ready for it. The one that we have here doesn't benefit Caymanians in the way that, especially financially.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to take a break. When we return, let's talk about that readiness, for an increase in the population, and how do we prepare, ourselves for that as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
The Ministry of Education and Department of Education Services are opening at 1 p.m. today due to a staff workshop that's taking place this morning. Normal operations will resume at 8:30 tomorrow. 5 American citizens jailed for years in Iran are flying back to the U.S. as part of a prisoner swap. The 4 men and 1 woman who also hold Iranian passports have taken off in a jet from the Iranian capital, Tehran. Their release was dependent on the transfer of $60 billion in Iranian funds earned from selling oil to South Korea to banks in Doha, which is now said to have been completed. 5 Iranians imprisoned in the U.S. are expected to be freed at the same time as part of the swap, which was mediated by Qatar. U.S. President Joe Biden has long been urged to bring home Americans who have widely been seen as hostages used by Iran as bargaining chips. But the swap is being condemned by leading U.S. Republicans and Iranian activists who say it will only encourage more hostage-taking. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
It's one of the best moments of your life when you welcome your baby into the world. The HSA's experienced women's health and maternity team provides the highest quality of care throughout your pregnancy and delivery. As a JCI accredited hospital, we are the leader in maternal care, safely delivering over 700 babies annually. Visit hsa.ky for more information. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
I am Teresa Pitcairn, the chairperson of the Cayman Islands Beautification Task Force. Derelict vehicles are not only unsightly, they also lower the quality of life in our neighborhoods and pose serious public health and safety risk. To report a derelict vehicle, please call the Department of Environmental Health on 949-6696.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than Honorable Dwayne Seymour, who has responsibility for border control and labor under the PACT government. So we're talking about some person's desire to see the population of the Cayman Islands grow by up to 100,000. Of course, we know that if it reaches 100,000, there's no way to cut off the spigot and say, well, this is it. We're not going to increase anymore because it's going to increase, naturally or otherwise. But we have seen now with the population of whether it's 70 or 80,000, the pressures that are being placed on our infrastructure, our roads infrastructure, housing, our social infrastructure. Caymanians feeling that they're being marginalized, that their opportunities are out there, they're being left behind and everything. How do we address those concerns? And then we want to talk about the billboard and whether or not the Minister Bryan's his erection of that billboard is any indication that there's a difference in approach, different in policy, as far as the PAC government is concerned when it comes to immigration reform.
Well, thank you, OC. Obviously, the 100,000 population is definitely very concerning. I tell people all the time, if we want people to feel comfortable with the growth and pace what's happening in this country. You need to bring people along with the growth. We have failed to do that, you know. We have failed to do that. And some of the ways that you do that is, and I keep saying all the time, and you may hear me repeating this, is that Caymanians have to benefit. You know, how are we benefiting? 100,000 population, and then what? You know? And then how many more? You know? So what I'm saying is that until we come up with a plan, we should have had a task force together already. How can Caymanians benefit from this growth? That should be a task force that is ongoing every year, you know, and it has to be a part of that conversation has to be entrepreneurship, you know. If it's growing, then we need to benefit. If our infrastructure is being impacted by more people coming here or transiting here than us, then someone needs to pay for it. So that the stress, because it's the stress. I spoke to Dr. Lockhart, if he doesn't mind me calling his name. And, you know, the growth and pace of the Cayman Islands, we're the fastest growing country in the world, you know. And this has a mental health effect. So the amount of money that we are spending, you know, on the indigents and in mental health and everything else, you know, someone else should be paying for that. So you have come here to this wonderful, beautiful country that no one wants to leave once they come. Then you need to pay your dues to the people that you found here. Because the reason why it's beautiful, the reason why it's peaceful, is because the people generally have a good heart. You know, they don't mind people coming here, right? But our people want to benefit from the growth. They don't want to see people coming here in 2 years and then, you know, living better than them. And you came from nothing. You had nothing when you came here. And now in 2 years' time, you're living better than them. And these are the concerns I hear people talking about all the time.
So Minister, would you then advocate that the new approach that we take towards the work permit situation and residency, that residency in the Cayman Islands, for you to want to live here on a permanent basis, bring your family with you, that there should be no linkage between the issue of a work permit and residency. They should be separated, because right now, our legislation says, you know, you can be here and work if you granted work permits continuously for 9 years. On year 8, you have to submit your application for permanent residency, and if you're unsuccessful, then you leave. But we have linked them both. Would we be better off having a system where if you want to come here and work, you are allowed to come to work? We may have you interrupt your stay for a period of time, you leave and you return, but your ability to work in the Cayman Islands and obtain a work permit, whether you're a domestic helper or you're one of the top lawyers in a law firm, that work permit that you have and the years that you spend here should have no bearing whatsoever on your ability to reside in the Cayman Islands. That should be a completely different process, and when we look at that process, we should be taking into consideration how it is going to impact Caymanians, you know, as well, and future Caymanians or younger Caymanians, how it's going to impact them. At one point in time, when we looked at residency early in the Cayman Islands, was for people who wanted to retire here. Now we have linked residency to work permits. So you see the Reg 6 being put on work permit positions. The person switching to another position, they then obtain their residency, and the Reg 6 no longer applies, because then you have a person who's resident in the Cayman Islands occupying that position.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we see I get so much complaints. I get calls about persons who come here, person take out a one year work permit for them. That's why it's kind of sensitive when you talk about whether it's a 3-month or a 1 year work permit you take out.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 3-month work permit as a business owner is very helpful for you to get to learn and know about that person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what's happening is people taking out, they're bringing people from far distances, and when they come here, their friend or someone else on the island tell them about another opportunity to pay $2 more an hour or something, and all of a sudden 1 month after, they start to perform bad so that you can fire them, or they talk about trying to move, and we need to dissuade this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that we need to change the legislation, because it should never be linked with work permit and status. Never be linked. We need to change that. If anything I can do, it will be my determination to change that. No one should come here. You came here for a work opportunity, and we welcome you.
Mm-hmm.
All of us are from somewhere, and all of us have family from somewhere else. And even in the Bible, Jesus tells you to welcome foreigners. So it's not about that. But we need to make it very clear from the time the person gets the first work permit, this is not a right to status.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we need to, and I've been saying this and I campaigned on it, and I don't think it will be anything wrong. Whoever's here is here, and for some instances we'd have to grandfather certain things in. But I think we need to go on. We need to pause a bit. And I keep saying this all the time, and just do birth, status by birth, descent, or marriage, or adoption. This is I don't apologize for that, and we need to pause and take stock of what is in this country. Yeah, if we even know how many people are here, I don't know if we know. And I chuckle at that, but it's a serious matter.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I think we do need a pause. I think the people of the Cayman Islands deserves that pause to try to understand where they fit in their own country.
Now, but while we that pause may be welcomed, we still have the backlog of applications for status, either acknowledgement in some cases, which the acknowledgement ones shouldn't really be that difficult, but the backlog of those persons who have reached their term limit,
yes,
have applied for permanent residence, and have not received any response. There is that likelihood that any change in legislation has to take into account those persons who have applied prior to the change taking place. So that is that backlog that needs to be addressed as well. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, if you can talk a little bit about that. Do we know what the numbers are, what we're dealing with, and whether or not some priority can be given to those persons who have Caymanian connections and are seeking, acknowledgement or a declaration by the board in relation to their status, to get those out of the way, because there are several persons who fall into that category. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means All personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We do have a caller, but we want to give Minister Seymour an opportunity to respond about the backlog. Any changes in legislation not likely to affect that backlog. I'm not sure whether or not you are aware of the numbers, but there must be, several out there.
I'll get the numbers for you on PR and status and on work permits. But what I must say is, for backlogs, that should be managed. If we're having a resource problem, we should find a way to do it, whether we need to hire in or otherwise to ensure that we get the backlog out of the way. We need to follow the law, right? Yes, we have personal desires. We have personal determinations of what we think the law should be and stuff like that. But that's not the way to manage this, because we're getting ourselves in trouble. Mm-hmm. And now most of these people that are there sitting on waiting for 18 months. A lot of them are more than likely to get it if they have the points, So I think we just need to follow the law, allow the politicians. We know exactly. We've been getting the complaints. We know some of the things that needs to be done to make amendments to the immigration law to ensure that it is not this easy to come in here and just walk in the door. So I think backlogs is a bad idea, mm-hmm. And whether we need to do some of these administratively to ensure that we don't have. I've also told the chief officer, if we have companies out there who can provide the services for us to be able to clear up some of these non-contentious backlogs, that I'm willing to hire them in, mm-hmm. Because the backlog only increases the problems that we have.
Now you always speak of and you mentioned it here this morning as well, low hanging fruit, and some of the low hanging fruit would be those that have a Caymanian connection and all they have a parent or parent
right.
who possess Caymanian status, and it's just a matter of looking at the details, verifying everything. Yeah. Not much that you can do about those in terms of refusal, unless there's some way that you find that the person is undesirable and is likely to have a negative impact on Caymanian society. Those seem to be relatively easy to deal with. Can those be separated from the rest? That would be low-hanging fruit. Again, mm-hmm. I believe that knowing the numbers in the particular categories would be extremely helpful as well. In that
I have some information. During the month of July, a total of 5,274 work permits were considered. Our various governing bodies sufficiently facilitated this number, mm-hmm. and 1,443 by the work permit and business staffing boards, and 3,831 by our civil servant administrators. Combined with the low unemployment numbers, this is a testimony to our economic stability and growth mm-hmm. prospects, although some
anything on applications for Caymanian status?
For Caymanian status, yes. The permanent residency under the 8-year point system Sure, a similar trend. 75 such applications were processed in August 2023, leaving 280 in the pipeline.
Okay.
A year to date for 2023, we've received 292 applications in this category. The number of pending PR 8-year applications continues to fall, and from 361 in June, to 280, even in the face of an increasing number of new applicants this year. So that is some of the stats that we have there, and I could provide you with more information if you
that would
needed
be that would certainly be helpful.
Yes.
Well, we do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes. Good morning, OC. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning. Good morning, Doc.
Seymour. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's good to hear you there, Minister. I just want to say that sometimes when we approach this question of population growth, immigration, economic development, and progress, what we need to do is that we need to understand immigration or migration. This has been something that's been with the world from the very beginning. It is actually essential. It not only transfers genetic changes or assist genetic changes that are necessary, but also in terms of just how the way people do things, how they build their basis of security and relationships and so forth and so on. So immigration is not a negative phenomenon. It is, in fact, positive. So it's how we handle it, how we get our people to perceive it. It's all of that that's involved in it. And I actually, when I came back here, Minister, some 45, 46 years ago, I was aware of the differences in terms of how I had grown up here and the way people had grown up in America, for instance, where I went when I was 50 and a half years old in 1964. I became aware of differences between people, but I also became conscious of the fact that people had differences, but those differences became plus if they were handled rightly. And this is one of the things that we learn in cultural studies. And we don't limit that to a very small idea of culture, Caymanian culture. We look at the whole culture. We look at the whole benefit of the repollinization of the plants and the different kinds of growth and the different kinds of results that we will get from it. The Caymanian mind from the very beginning was very open when it came, for instance, to racial issues, mixing and different things like this. And even the question of gender was handled here differently because the women stayed home while the men went to sea, but they ran the place. So we have a very firmly matriarchal-based society. So it is when we understand our culture, because our culture is not just something that we put on the wall, it is what informs our values and our motivations and our ideals and, you know, how we push for it or not push for it. It's a very important sociological and psychological component. We have seen the benefits of the financial benefits of this thing because we see it in the structures of the roads and buildings and all those things. What we have had the problem with is Caymanians being left behind. Not all Caymanians, but a large enough percentage that it scares us. And I think that we have this problem because we will not contact and we will not cooperate with the people who understand the problem because they've been in the trenches. Michael Miles, for instance, is one example in the program that he's doing. And I like to emphasize that because you all are about the same age and in the same situation. And I would like to see you guys keep it tight together, like with Kenneth and all that with immigration. Let's just sit down and understand that we don't make a problem out of something that we can use as a solution.
Agreed.
And what our problem is our people are staying behind because our people have some psychological and sociological problems, which I identified. And it was written in the Northwester at a National Council of Voluntary Organization meeting. We were different. We were a small society, not regimented, very individualistic and very anarchistic when we didn't get our way. All of those things have to be taken into account when we put our people on a job. We will not forward labor unions in the organization. As a matter of fact, what the Caymanians lack most is organized behavior. We are very individualistic and anarchistic, I was saying, from back then, and said that had to be taken into account, because when you Caymanian come to work for you, you better be careful how you talk to that Caymanian, because he's going to walk off the job and style. If he has got Jamaican, he's going to say, oh, no, I don't stay here and work. So we have to look at structure in society, sir.
Okay.
This is where the conversation needs to go. So you need to have professionals that are working. We don't just need to say we need immigration reforms without knowing what the structural issues are. Because how are you going to reform something if you don't know the structure of that which you're reforming? And I'm just saying that to say I've been around for a long time. I've been speaking for a long time. I'm a participant observer. I understand your system here, and I understand some of the big mistakes. And I'm not saying that I can correct it, but I'm saying before you put your foot on the brakes, understand how the world is symbiotic. One thing is feeding on the other thing. You have to balance and seek harmony in the relationship. It's a good possibility that if you could get the right kind of immigration review, not concentrated on your laws only, but concentrate on what you want, sir, for your country, it might be possible that you can put something together that will keep Cayman going in the way it's going, because the growth can funnel a lot of benefits to your people if you have the structures to allow them to receive those benefits. For instance, one benefit could be a late education in technical and vocational training. And you have basically the structure set up around you. You have people talking about these things, but there's no leadership in this. And this is what I think government should be doing, providing the leadership to the private sector to bring these solutions into play. And I just hope that God will continue to bless you all, and that you begin to see that not everything that opposes is bad. Opposition is necessary because we grow from that type of, what we would say, dialectic, that type of conflict that is ultimately aiming for the better good.
Caller, thank you very much. For that as well. One of our listeners has opined, and they mentioned the fact that the immigration law in relation to border control was amended sometime last year to give the Director of Customs and Border Control certain discretion and powers in relation to applications made for refugee status. And when considering the request, if the director deemed the application not to have any possibility of succeeding, that person then can form part of the removal process in relation to our MOU, and whether or not a similar system can be set up for persons who apply under the current legislation for permanent residence, knowing quite well that their application is not likely to succeed. They're not likely to get the required number of points, but still submit the application to prolong their stay in the jurisdiction and to prolong their ability to earn money. As well, whether or not a similar system can be put in place where the application is reviewed early by someone to determine the likelihood of success.
Thank you. It's a lot to discuss, and thank Dr. Frank for calling in. I agree with a lot of things that he said, and I'll try to address them one by one. In terms of the refugee amendment last year. This was an amendment to allow the director to be able to speed up the ability to move them quickly off the island. And that has been working. We've been able to move them quicker. But in talking about trying to relate that same policy towards PR, I think what we're doing when we try to talk about trying to remove people like that, it means that we've already failed, right? If we can't, we need to be more efficient, right? In attending, in managing our PR. If we're efficient in handling these things, just say in 30 days, right? There's no need to have anything else. You either got it or you didn't, right? We can't take 1 year to do it, That's given persons another year on the island, blocking another Caymanian.
And they know that it's taken that long.
And they know they're playing the system. So we need to fix the system, and that's what we're doing with the automated system we're bringing in place. It's supposed to let everyone know and give you a result within 30 days.
Okay.
So I don't think, I think we need to give that an opportunity to work. There's a lot of countries seeking persons to come into their country. People are out there all the time trying to market that. And I agree with Dr. McField, and I say it all the time. We have a good problem. We have more jobs than people. It's a good problem. But I think, we have failed our people, and I said that earlier, because we failed them in education and many other areas, and we have failed to bring them along. We need to bring them along with the success of the country.
Okay, got you. We have to take a commercial break. We do have one caller on hold. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love, like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicel's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel, better connected. You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller on hold. We're going to take this caller. Ms. Susan, we're going to close the phone lines after that because the minister has several questions as well. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning.
Good morning, Minister Seymour.
Good morning.
What a brilliant mind that Dr. Frank has, eh?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
He did not leave. Everything about what he said identifies a Caymanian. It's real identifier.
Yeah.
But I won't say any more about that. You are the Minister for Labor, correct?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a company now that's 46 years old, and I cannot find Caymanians to come to work in my construction company because there are none.
Right.
I put in work permit, they turn them down. I have to survive in this country. I'm probably one of the oldest established construction companies in these islands. And apparently, the government has taken it upon themselves to have the authority over businesses to tell them who they can hire and who they can't hire. To me, that is not right. That's not a system of government. That's not the way we rule our people. And I would like to see that change, sir. I had two gentlemen from Nicaragua, which are by whatever that language is. They speak both English and Spanish.
Bilingual?
Bilingual, that's what I was searching for. Thank you. And they got turned down because they couldn't understand what that thing is now, the AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
They make them listen to a computer.
The online English test.
Yeah, that's wrong. It is totally wrong. And it's prejudice against the Spanish countries, people from the Spanish countries. I would ask you now to take it off the books and find some other way of approving these people to be able to stay here. I can send you a recording of his communication he had with me, one of them, and you can't tell that he's from the Spanish country, that it was turned down. I think that's unfair. These are the same countries where we went to 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago to look for employment. We couldn't speak Spanish. They didn't turn us back. They thought that we went there and we learned the Spanish while we went there.
Yep.
Anyway, I think it's totally wrong, and it's prejudice against people from those countries. And I will be coming to see you, sir, because I can't talk so good over the radio. I'm not a public speaker. Otherwise, I was then a politician. So, my name
You're better than you think.
Okay? So you all have a great day, and consider what I've said.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. So we've closed off the phone lines. One of our listeners has written and said, Minister Seymour mentioned that changes need to be made to our immigration laws. Can you please ask him why nothing regarding immigration is on the business, on the agenda for tomorrow's parliamentary meeting?
I'm not a part of the business committee, you know, and you know, if I was, it would have been there.
Okay, so there was documentation that could have been brought to Parliament in relation to immigration.
No, there wasn't anything.
Okay,
it's not ready yet.
Yeah, well, that was what they were asking. Whether
if it was ready, I'm sure it would have been put on by the business committee.
Got you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But what I want to say, just to answer the caller, you know, that's been in business for 4 to 6 years, I think we just need to be honest with ourselves and stop, you know, playing around with businesses, you know, that are owned by Caymanians. You know, there's some jobs that Caymanians just won't do. Mm-hmm. Every country that you go, the citizens of that country, there's just some jobs the natives won't do.
But people's answer to that is they won't do those jobs simply because of the wages that are being offered. Not that there's anything wrong with doing the job, but not for the wage.
Well, that may be somewhat true, but even some jobs that the wages are decent, Caymanians still won't do it. So we need to tailor to our people. We need to find out, you know, the areas that they really want to go in, provide that upskill, that training, that retooling, and to ensure that anyone who wants a job can get one. You know, we have more jobs than we have people, so we have a good problem.
Yep.
So there should be no reason why a person who wants to work shouldn't find a placement if the person is not trained in that area, then we find a way to train them up. And you know, I sympathize also with the caller in terms of, I've often wondered about this English test. I have my own personal views about that.
I think for the Spanish-speaking ones, it's a little bit difficult because, of course, you know that there are Spanish-speaking countries, but the Cuban Spanish may be dialect or whatever it is, completely different from those who speak it in Nicaragua or those who speak it in Spain or something. And I believe that is where the issue is. Remember before the term was used that the person needed to have sufficient command of the English language. That means they didn't have to be 100% proficient in the English language.
Basic words.
Yeah, but it is something that needs to be looked into because there are several scenarios on island now where people can't speak any, and they're still working.
But is that our job? Are we wasting time with that? Isn't that the business or the company's responsibility to ensure that their employees are up to the task? Otherwise, someone else will take the business and go somewhere else.
To a certain extent,
I'm wondering if we're getting to something that we don't really need to get into.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But when those persons have to interact with the public,
yes,
or when they have
certain jobs do need it.
Yeah,
yes.
Then that's when it.
But I think it should be categorized. You know, so I think that's my personal opinion.
Okay, Ms. Susan, we're going to take the early commercial break because when we return, Minister Seymour want to specifically discuss the billboard issue in relation to immigration reform, and we want to see how much we can squeeze from him in relation to whether or not the pact government is united on this, or what do they call him in the Republican Party, in the Boberts and the Gates and all of those, the fringe, whether or not there's a fringe in the PAC government that is not supporting that as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me is Minister Dwayne Seymour, who has constitutional responsibility for border control and labor. One of our listeners wrote and says, the person says, as far as they're aware, they are now using the IELTS, which is a very difficult and tests the ability to write as well as speak. I think, that is correct as well. So Minister, the billboard. Everybody wants to talk about the billboard. I'm getting WhatsApp messages here and there, and they want to know, is that an indication, the fact that the Minister for Tourism has posted that billboard, we need immigration reform. Now, is any indication of any division within the PAC government in relation to the approach to be taken by as far as immigration reform is concerned?
Thank you. See, I left the island and I came back, and there's a billboard. Obviously, immigration reform is a serious concern. I've spoken to the caucus, so everyone in the caucus well knows, what we are working on in the ministry, timelines and everything else. So I'm not sure what the billboard is about. I'm sure the minister will give me some insight on that when I see him a bit later. Mm-hmm. But obviously, there's nothing has been changed as to our determination in ensuring that we reform immigration, that it works for Cayman and Caymanians. I also wanted to mention that I made a comment earlier about and I should have
failure to educate
education, and I should have really finished my thought. This is not a current day feeling that I'm talking about in terms of educating our children. Now, the Minister Juliana Connolly, the Deputy Premier, is doing a great job with education. We see all the things that she's put in place to ensure that no child is left behind, whether that's school lunches or laptops or otherwise. But this is stuff that are done a long time ago before any of us were even elected.
And making sure that scholarships are available, not just for those who, are above the grade, but to give those who maybe a little bit below an opportunity as well, because some of those persons who you think, well, they're not scoring high, they
become the high flyers,
precisely.
Because they've been given an opportunity and they're motivated by it.
Precisely.
So I thank the minister for her job on that, and I'm sure you'll have her on later this week.
Hopefully, yes. We're
but on that billboard, it's I'm sure that the minister has a reason for putting it up.
Well, I think he will say that he not only is he a minister, but he's also a member of Parliament, and he's basically expressing the views of his constituents.
Yeah, I'm sure he will, but it wasn't anything that was discussed with me. I didn't know he was putting it up there. And obviously I'll get an explanation a little bit later, but there's nothing changed. In fact, I've only been on the job 4 or 5 months, and in terms of border control and labor, and I'm trying my best. In fact, what I want to say is that anytime I become a minister, and I'm grateful to God for giving me that opportunity, and I always try to make a difference in every ministry that I represent. And I will do so for the benefit of the Cayman Islands. People can look at my track record.
One of our listeners called in earlier and wanted to get your views on the Cadet Corps and what the original intentions of that was in relation to the ability of those persons, well, first of all, to make it mandatory in all the schools. So we see issues now in terms of discipline and everything else. And also that those persons who join the Cadet Corps they're transitioning to other enforcement agencies like customs or the fire, even though fire is not really an enforcement agency, or the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service would be so much easier as well, and wanted to get your views, on that, on the Cadet Corps as well. I don't know. Hopefully we'll have enough time.
Yeah, obviously, it's not under my remit, but I definitely have interest in that as a person who was involved in Boys Brigade.
Yes,
obviously, some of the same principles. I've long been saying that we should be teaching conflict resolution from primary schools, because this is where it starts. You can't wait till a person is 10 years old and start teaching conflict resolution. We're getting squabbles long before that. Long before that. And I've also said, and I go on record in saying that no child should leave school without a skill. That's one of my pet peeves. But as to the Cadet Corps, I mean, it has to be mandated in some way that these persons, it should be mandated. It should be in every school, and these persons for who want to go to join the services, police or otherwise. We see the problems that we have in the police force now, where we have to import persons to be policemen. That should never be, We can't have one of the biggest budgets in our budget. One of the biggest items or biggest tickets on our item being police, and most of the persons are imported from overseas. What are we working for? What are we working towards? And then we have people saying they can't get a job. And Caymanians would work in that field. We just need to encourage them, but we need to encourage them from very young. And I think that's where the Cadet Corps comes in.
Yeah, and if you were to use, for instance, in the U.S., the Peace Corps was a huge
exactly.
Motivator for persons, in terms of either working in the U.S. or working, overseas, volunteering overseas, as well.
Yeah, but that's it. From the training that I got as a Boys Brigade back then, growing up, it gives you some great principles that you can lend towards life, even if you don't want to go into one of those the service, gives you a good background that you may later in life be a constable, police constable or something, because you have that background and training. So still lending and giving back to community, definitely something that we should work towards, and trying to ensure that our young men and young women are good contributing citizens. What I saw the other day on social media in terms of that fight, and I started to go back and I started to be that age, and I saw the kick on the neck and everything else, and it was without restraint, and they're videoing it and everything else, and I'm saying, this is what we come to. There has to be some restraint, Where is that restraint? I didn't see it in that video, in those two young men trying to handle that. The other guy, he handled himself pretty good though.
One of our listeners say that they applaud you, for your dedication and your commitment to Caymanians, and while being just a few months, as the minister, they're asking you if you could speak to some of the things that you want to achieve during your tenure as a minister.
Well, boy, that's a big one. I can quickly start though to say that we can't sit down and complain when we can change laws, and amendments and everything else, regulation. Me personally, I would love seeing a bicameral system or a Senate where we appoint people. Politicians don't have to be the smartest person in the room, We can appoint those to help us and help guide this country in the ways that we need to go. So definitely I think we need to stop dumbing down politics. I keep saying that all the time, but there's some real efforts to do that right now. And we need to encourage our young politicians to show interest in taking this role to work on behalf of our people. I want to say something when you talk about growth. We see the Miccosukee Indians, and we see the Aborigines and Spaniards in Jamaica and everything else. I mean, there's a trend that never just started today, where when people see a place that is peaceful, that you can work in harmony and live and play, they want to go there, and that place happens to be the Cayman Islands. And I agree with Dr. Frank and what he said in terms of, don't just stop it because we're trying to stop it to protect Caymanians. Let's find out what we can do, and that's what I've been saying. We can't leave our people behind from the growth. And do we have a growth plan? We need a growth plan. We haven't done that. Where do we want our Caymanians to be? With this growth plan, how do we want our Caymanians to play a part in this? It has to be benefit financially. That's where we need to get our people to. So if that's where we need to get our people to, then let's get a plan. Let's put a task force together, or a board, or whatever we need to put together to ensure that we can find creative ways that Caymanians can benefit from the growth. I am not one to say stop this or stop that, because when you stop it, you don't know when it's going to return. So we need to find a way to slow it down a bit,
Take stock.
Take stock. Find a way how our Caymanians can benefit from it. And then we move slowly.
Yeah.
But this thing about, we need 100,000 people. What we need 100,000 people for? We need 100,000 people so that our Caymanians can benefit from that.
Yeah.
Let's put certain things in places. Like in Florida, the Indians there, only them can have casinos.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So why not find creative ways or niche markets for our people to be able to benefit from the growth?
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
That was one of the requests that people had before, that we should ring fence certain jobs for Caymanians only. We got a message from Minister Bryan, and he wants to let you know that by no means did the sign mean to undermine you in any way. So he is.
Minister Bryan is a friend.
Yes, yeah.
I consider him a friend. We call each other big brother. So obviously, I never thought that Minister Bryan meant anything untoward. Yes. I think he's trying to assist my effort in some people may see it different, but we'll get to talk and laugh about it at caucus a bit later.
And running out of time, but this quick question: extension of the east-west arterial. What's happening?
How could we end without that? Let me tell you, I'm very vociferous about that. I don't like when we go down to Parliament and vote for things unanimously and then nothing happens. I become very irate. We went down there, we voted unanimously for taller buildings. There's nothing happened, We voted for the east-west arterial once the hydrological study had been complete, which was in August, that we could continue building the road up to Lookout Gardens, which was the non-contentious areas. I agree that there are sensitive areas east of Lookout Gardens, and I would never dare to say that we do that without an EIA. But I'm saying to you, our people are suffering. I came down, got late here for the radio show this morning because of the traffic, And I see people sitting in this traffic, and I can only wonder what's going on, There's mental health problems that happens because people are leaving their kids at dark in the morning and coming back home in the dark and not being able to spend any family time. We will see the effects of that in the future, of families not being able to spend time together. We need to act now. We can't keep waiting and pushing things and hoping that it goes away. This will not go away because Dwayne Seymour is not going away for right now. I think God needs me to do more work here.
So I want to give you an opportunity for some closing comments, Minister Seymour.
Yeah, I thank you for having me on this morning, and definitely I'm a person who is willing to fight for Caymanians, and I never back down from a fight, and definitely scuffle and knuckles to ensuring Abraham Mickle makes a muckle, which George Washington said, for people in the Cayman Islands. And we have to be positive about all. If we're not inspiring the next generation, and elevating them, and elevating the importance of family, then why are we doing this as politicians? Let's make people know, that it's okay to make a mistake, and encourage our people. Remember that mistakes gave us penicillin, it gave us the pacemaker, it gave us the microwave, and the matches. So mistakes are not all bad. But we need to understand the reason why we have been elected. We've been elected to serve our people. Now, we may have one ideology, and we may have personal views on things, but we need to put our personal views aside when it comes to our people. If our people says, look, that's your personal view, but I don't want that. Here is what I want you to concentrate on. We need to listen to our people. Otherwise, in 4 years' time, and I'm telling you that the former politician, A.J. Miller, said, don't stay on the sinking boat. I can tell you he said that.
Folks, that's what you call a tongue-in-cheek comment made by Minister Dwayne Seymour, right? Don't stay on a sinking boat. Don't stay on not even the rats stay on a sinking boat, right? They're abandoned ship also.
You get on the rafts.
Minister Seymour, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for making yourself available. We regret that the Honorable Juliana O'Connor-Connolly was unable to be here, but we're going to find some space for her to be on the show as well. The messages that, the responses that I'm getting, everyone is appreciative of you being so upfront, frank, and candid, as well, and they certainly appreciate that. Folks, I appreciate you participating, even though we didn't take too many phone calls. But again, we want to encourage you to continue to support Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the steps 2020.